All right, guys, page 3 of the midterm. I'm nowhere fancy today, just hiding in this secret room somewhere in the building. So, question 15. Which equation expresses the relationship between x and y as shown in the accompanying table? There are two ways to do this. One, I call cheat mode. You put each of these into the calculator for y equals and go to the table and see which one matches. If you don't have a calculator like myself right now, you should know that the y-intercept is where x is 0. So that means I'm looking for a y-intercept of 2, which tells me it's not this one and it's not this one. So it's going to be one of these two. Then I have to figure out the slope. Finding the slope, it's the change in y over the change in x. So over here it's going up 3, up 3, up 3, and over here it's going up just 1, so that's going to be 3 over 1. So my slope is 3, my y-intercept is 2, and my correct answer is 3. 16. The graph below, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares about that. Over which interval does the helicopter have the slowest average rate of change? Slowest average rate of change. Average rate of change means slope. Where is it the slowest? Which means I don't want a steep line. I want more of a line that's almost doing nothing, like this one that has no slope. Okay, so if I look up at my intervals, it's definitely not this guy because that's a very steep line. It's not going to be this guy because that's a steep line. Now, you might be able to say, okay, this line looks like it has less of a slope than this line. That may be true, but we don't know for sure. So again, to find slope, you have to do the change in y over the change in x. So for this one, it's going to be, we'll say 20 minus 19 over 10 minus 5, which is going to give me 1/5. Okay, and on this one, change in y, 17 minus 14 over change in x, 20 minus 15, which is going to give me 3 over 5. So this is bigger than this, which means this one, which I thought has the least rate of change, and that is from 5 to 10 seconds. So our answer there is 2. 17. The value of the x-intercept for the graph of 4x minus 5y is 40. So it's 40. Which one is the x-intercept? So I said up here, your y-intercept is where x is 0. So if you're looking for the x-intercept, that means y is going to be 0. So I put 4x minus 5, and instead of y, I put 0. Equal to 40, and that's going to be 4x, and that's 0, equals 40. Divide 4 on each side, so we get x equal to 10. So the x-intercept is 10. Okay, the other way you could have done this is solve for y, put it in y equals, and then look at the graph or the table to figure out where it crosses the x-axis, which would make the x-intercept. 18. The graph below shows the average price of gasoline, blah, blah, blah. No one cares about that. Okay, what is the appropriate range of this graph? Range is the bottom to the top. So I'm going to look at the low point here. It's pretty low, okay, but I see that it's under 1. The top is up here. Okay, that's going to be over 2 somewhere. So if I'm looking for range, I know that I want y value, so it's not these two options. And my y values, the top is the same for both of these, so I'm looking at the bottom. So I come over and look at the bottom, it's under 1, not over 1, so it's got to be choice 3. Okay, now we're talking about domain. Well, we just said range was y values, so I know domain is x values, which means I can get rid of this one and this one because they have y's. And if it's domain, I'm going left to right. So notice where the y-axis is here. So that's -1, 2, and I don't even have to check the rest because there's only one option with -1. And that's 1. Okay, happy page 3. See you on 4.